TMZ is reporting that the car is linked to the popular singer David. The LAPD towed the car from the yard after gathering evidence at the scene. They say the car was reported abandoned in the Hollywood Hills about 5 days ago.
Body wrapped around plastic was just found in a Tesla that happens to belong to multi-platinum artist David.
Now let's dive into this shocking situation that has the internet in a chokehold. It's all centered on David. For those unfamiliar, David is a New York-born, Houston-raised singer who skyrocketed to fame straight off TikTok just a few years ago. His breakout track, Romantic Homicide, didn't just go viral. It turned him from an unknown teen recording songs in his bedroom to a mainstream sensation, snatching him a record deal almost overnight. Since then, he's managed to keep his momentum, building a cult-like fan base and pulling numbers that many established artists could only dream about. At just 20 years old, he's already stamped himself as one of the fastest rising young stars in the game. But here's where things take a shocking twist. News broke yesterday that's got everybody frozen in disbelief. Reports out of Los Angeles claim the LAPD discovered a body inside an impounded Tesla tied directly to David himself. Yes, his name has now been officially connected to an active police investigation, and the internet is spinning with theories about how his car ended up being part of something so disturbing. What's throwing people off is that David has never been linked to any type of criminal activity, violence, or even petty drama. He's always been seen as quiet and mysterious, the type of artist who stays out of the spotlight unless it's for his music. Yet suddenly his name is swirling around headlines involving human remains, a situation way darker and more chilling than fans ever expected. Here's what's on record so far. Police say the Tesla had been impounded and stored at a tow yard in Hollywood, Los Angeles. Around 12:30 p.m. on Monday, officers were called after complaints started pouring in about a foul, unbearable odor coming from the vehicle. Witnesses from the area said the stench was so powerful that it couldn't be ignored. When investigators finally opened the Tesla, what they found left people shaken. Human remains stuffed into a bag, placed right in the front seat. Once the plates were run, the shocking detail came out. The car was registered to a David Burke, which happens to be the legal government name of popular artist d4vd. Authorities say the Tesla had reportedly been sitting at that tow lot for several days before the gruesome discovery was made, raising even more questions about what could have happened in that time frame. And there's another layer making this story even murkier. Several news outlets are reporting that police are still in the process of identifying the victim and figuring out how that body ended up in David's car in the first place.
Monday afternoon, just a little before 12:30, LAPD officers were dispatched to investigate the impounded vehicle. It was then that police discovered a body had been placed inside a bag inside the car. Police say the body and the car had been at the property for a couple of days. As of this morning, it's still not clear who the remains belong to, but Eyewitness News has learned that the Tesla is registered to a
The
multi-platinum
crazy
artist.
part is that this guy right now is on tour and his team hasn't said a single word about what has happened. Now, it's not confirmed who's responsible for the body that was inside the car. At the current moment, since the car does belong to David, I'm assuming he's going to be the main suspect in this investigation. Although I will say it is kind of hard to believe because, you know, somebody with that much success, like, why would you just throw it away? But then again, you never know. You know, they're saying, in the back of my car, yeah. I'm gonna just leave that with you guys anyways. Let me know what you think about the situation in the comment section below. Do you guys think he did it? And hey, honestly, just prayers to whoever the victim is and their family.
Right now, David and his team haven't issued any type of statement, and that silence is only cranking up the speculation. Some fans are rushing to defend him, insisting there's no way he could be involved, while others are already whispering about possible hidden connections and asking if this shocking twist could be tied to something much bigger than just music. This case is exploding across every platform, not just because of the horrifying discovery, but because of who the vehicle is linked to. The fact that the Tesla is registered to David has turned a tragic situation into a full-blown viral storm. Social media hasn't stopped buzzing, and the speculation is growing by the hour. David, up until now, was viewed as a rising star, a young artist chasing his dream, someone who seemed far removed from the chaos of Hollywood scandals. He wasn't branded as reckless or some industry bad boy. He was simply that kid who broke through with a viral song, landed a record deal, and built a devoted following. Now the internet is asking some of the wildest questions imaginable. Did David really catch a body? Could he secretly be living some dark double life, like a character straight out of a crime drama? The memes and jokes online might seem lighthearted, but beneath all the noise sits a very real and very disturbing investigation. The LAPD confirmed chilling details. The body was stuffed inside a bag in the front trunk of that Tesla, and by the time officers made the discovery, the remains were already decomposing. At first, nobody knew who the victim could be, but officials later revealed the remains belonged to a woman. Here's what police shared publicly. She stood around 5 feet 2 inches, weighing only about 71 pounds, with wavy black hair. She was found wearing a tube top, black leggings, a yellow bracelet, and small studded earrings. But one eerie detail in particular has the internet in a frenzy. She reportedly had a tattoo on her right index finger that literally read, "Shh." That chilling word inked onto her skin has only added to the unsettling mystery. Investigators are currently keeping her identity under wraps, but they confirmed she had been deceased for a significant amount of time before being found. The coroner's upcoming report will be crucial, not just in determining who this woman was, but also how she died. And of course, the first person authorities want to question is the Tesla's registered owner, David himself. Sources claim police have already reached out to him, but so far there's been no official statement from David or his team. That silence is leaving fans restless and fueling nonstop speculation online. But the chaos didn't stop there. Just one day later, on Tuesday, police uncovered another body inside a separate car in South Los Angeles. Officials have been quick to stress that at this point, there's no evidence connecting the two cases. Still, the timing has people side-eyeing the situation, with many asking if something much bigger could be unfolding in the city right now. Meanwhile, David hasn't pressed pause on his career. He's still performing on tour, with fans spotting him in Minneapolis just the other night. But the shadow of this case is already creeping into his professional world. Only a few days ago, David's face was splashed across Hollister's official website, modeling their new Crocs collaboration. Now, fans notice that he's quietly been scrubbed from the campaign homepage. That sudden removal has sparked whispers that brands may already be distancing themselves from him long before the full truth comes out. We're talking hoodies, sweats, Crocs, the full rollout. David's face was splashed across Hollister's new campaign like a billboard for the next generation, right in the middle of their website homepage. His name was tied directly to the launch, and for a moment, it looked like the perfect marriage between a rising music star and a clothing brand hungry for internet relevance. But the second the Tesla story hit the news cycle, everything flipped in real time. Hollister wasted no time at all. David's image was scrubbed, replaced with another model, and just like that, one of his biggest, most lucrative brand deals evaporated overnight. That's the cutthroat speed of this industry. One day you're the face of a campaign, the next you're wiped out like you never existed. Now here's where the situation gets even more intense. According to TMZ, the LAPD themselves had to personally contact David. Imagine this. A direct call from investigators letting him know your Tesla is in impound with a dead body inside. That's the kind of call that instantly turns your entire world upside down. Reports claim David was blindsided, telling officers he had absolutely no clue this was happening. Right now, insiders say he's cooperating fully with investigators, which authorities are treating as a positive sign. And despite the chaos, David hasn't gone underground. He's still keeping up with tour stops, still hitting the stage like nothing can derail his career momentum. But the mystery of the Tesla is the piece that's keeping everyone on edge. Was the car loaned out to someone else? Was it stolen? Or could there be some unknown story waiting to unravel? At this point, the answers are unclear. In David's situation, reports state his Tesla had been left parked on a Hollywood street. After sitting there for some time, it was picked up and moved to the impound yard. That's where workers began noticing a foul stench leaking from the car. Once police popped open the front trunk, the discovery of human remains turned the situation from routine to chilling in seconds. And this is where Hollister's move really shows the ruthless side of corporate America. One day, David is front and center for their Crocs collab, feeding them the exact Gen Z audience they crave, and the next day it's like he was never on their roster at all. Hollister hasn't released a single official statement about their decision, but honestly, they don't need to. The action speaks volumes. It's clear as daylight. The brand does not want the smoke of being tied to an ongoing police investigation. Because here's the reality. Major brands don't gamble with risk. Their partnerships with artists like David aren't about loyalty or patience. They're about business. David gave them visibility, clout, and a direct line to internet-savvy shoppers. But the second that image became stained, even if temporarily, they cut the core without hesitation. This is the way the game works. Reputations sell clothes, scandals don't. And here's the part that needs to be understood. Hollister dropping David doesn't prove anything about guilt or innocence. Corporate brands aren't waiting for investigations to play out. They operate on optics, not evidence. It's about how things look, not what they actually are. The second a name gets caught up in controversy, companies protect themselves first and foremost. To them, it's not personal, it's survival. So the question that has everybody glued to their screens is this: what exactly is going on here? The case has more twists than answers. And until officials release a full report, the public is left piecing things together from scattered details. Right now, the story feels like one massive puzzle, and every new detail only raises more questions. Here's what's been confirmed so far. The LAPD hasn't officially explained how David's Tesla ended up in impound to begin with. What's known is that the car was reportedly parked on a street in Hollywood for several days. Eventually, it was towed and secured at a storage lot. That's where workers began noticing the overwhelming smell coming from the front trunk, leading police to open it. And that's when they discovered the decomposed remains of a woman. Since then, detectives have been retracing every step of the car's history. They're reportedly reviewing surveillance footage from the area, checking with neighbors and possible witnesses, and even digging into the Tesla's own digital tracking system to pinpoint who last had control of the vehicle. At the same time, investigators are working to identify the victim. They've released her physical description, including the haunting shh tattoo on her finger, in hopes of cross-referencing it with missing persons databases. But so far, her identity hasn't been made public. What makes this case even more unsettling is the location: Los Angeles. Car break-ins, thefts, and abandonments happen there daily. Stories of vehicles being stolen, vandalized, or dumped in strange locations are basically routine. It's not a stretch to imagine that David's Tesla may have fallen victim to that cycle of chaos, only to become connected to something far darker. Whether the car was borrowed, stolen, or accessed without his knowledge, it's now central to a homicide investigation. And then there's the heartbreaking reality of the victim herself. According to reports, she weighed just 71 pounds at the time she was found. That alarming detail has sparked a wave of speculation about her background. Was she struggling with health issues, battling addiction? Could she have been unhoused, vulnerable, and targeted? Or was she attacked and placed in that car by someone else entirely? The tattoo reading "shh" only deepens the eerie mystery, making her story feel both personal and haunting at the same time. Detectives believe she had been deceased for quite some time before the body was discovered, which raises even more difficult questions about where she was last seen alive and who she may have been with. Every small clue is being dissected online, and the internet has already spun countless theories, from random foul play to possible ties to organized crime. Meanwhile, the fact that this tragedy is now connected to a 20-year-old music star makes the story spread even faster. David was seen as a breakout artist with a promising future, and now his name is being dragged into a case involving human remains. Even though there's no evidence linking him directly to the crime, the connection alone is enough to put his career, reputation, and public image under a microscope. And here's the reality check. This case is only just beginning. The LAPD is still piecing together timelines, reviewing digital data, and waiting for the coroner's report to reveal how exactly this woman died. Until those answers come out, the story remains wide open, leaving the public stuck between facts, speculation, and a haunting mystery that doesn't add up just yet. And here's the part that makes this bigger than just one headline. This case reflects a much larger issue that society is still struggling with: violence against women. Every single day, stories like this emerge, and instead of slowing down, it feels like the problem is only getting worse. Each time news of a woman found in tragic circumstances surfaces, it forces everyone to confront just how unsafe the world can be, especially for those who are vulnerable. It's devastating, it's chilling, and yet the cycle continues. In this particular case, the most haunting detail is that we still don't know her name. The police have released her description, but her full identity hasn't been made public. That leaves lingering questions. Does she have family out there desperately searching for answers? Has anyone already filed a missing persons report that matches her description? According to reporters following the case closely, Detectives are actively checking her features against missing persons databases, hoping to find a match. If that's accurate, then we may soon see her name and story revealed, and that could push this investigation into an entirely new chapter. Whoever she was, one thing is clear: she didn't deserve to end up this way. This is a nightmare for any family to endure. When her identity is confirmed, those closest to her will have to face unimaginable grief, while the public will finally be able to attach a human story to what's now just a disturbing mystery. Until then, all anyone can do is acknowledge the tragedy and hope her loved ones receive the answers they deserve. Now, shifting focus to the other side of the story, David. The fact remains that his Tesla was tied to this discovery, and that alone has set the internet ablaze. But when looking at his background, nothing about his public image fits with the narrative of someone entangled in such a horrific act. He's only 20 years old with a career that's been on a steep upward climb. He's been touring, collaborating, securing brand campaigns, hardly the profile of someone leading a double life in the shadows. It's also important to note that David isn't a street rapper or an artist whose lyrics revolve around gang culture or criminal activity. His lane is completely different. His music is emotional, introspective, and artistic. It's about feelings, not about glorifying the streets. That distinction matters because it frames the way people perceive him in this situation. With David, the dots don't connect easily. Still, perception doesn't erase reality. A body was discovered in his car, and that fact alone has people split. Some are loudly defending him, convinced this has to be a setup, an accident, or some kind of twisted coincidence. Others are skeptical, pointing out that regardless of intent, a dead body in your car is a fact that cannot be brushed aside. Right now, the best course of action is exactly what investigators are already doing: gathering facts, reviewing evidence, and working toward the truth. The public may speculate endlessly, but until law enforcement reveals more, the situation sits in limbo. And as it does, the story balances between two heavy truths: the tragic loss of a woman whose life was cut short, and the uncertain future of a young artist suddenly entangled in a nightmare he may not have created. Right now, this story is dominating headlines across every major platform. But here's the crucial part: people need to tread carefully before rushing to judgment. The investigation is still active, and while David's name is attached to the case, nobody outside law enforcement has the full picture. Throwing accusations without evidence doesn't just damage reputations, it risks burying the truth before it even comes out. One thing is certain: investigators today are equipped with tools that make it nearly impossible for details to stay hidden. Between citywide surveillance cameras, Tesla's built-in GPS and digital tracking systems, cell phone tower data, and even forensic DNA testing, law enforcement has a mountain of resources to reconstruct exactly what happened. In an era where every move leaves a digital footprint, it's only a matter of time before the chain of events is revealed. The tragedy in this case is twofold. On one side, a young woman lost her life under horrifying circumstances, and her story deserves to be told with dignity once her identity is confirmed. On the other, a 20-year-old artist who appeared to be on the path to global stardom now finds his name attached to a nightmare that could derail everything he's built. That contrast, the rising star tied to a crime scene, explains why this case has exploded across the internet. Think about it. David is someone who went from recording songs in his bedroom to touring the world, charting records, and building a devoted fan base, all before he could legally buy a drink. His rapid rise was inspiring to a generation of fans who saw him as proof that success could come from anywhere. Now, seeing his name tangled up with a homicide investigation feels surreal, almost unbelievable. That disconnect is what's fueling the chaos online, from theories and debates to jokes and memes that only add more noise to an already tragic situation. But in the end, no amount of speculation replaces the facts. The investigation will uncover the truth, whether this was a crime of coincidence, a setup, or something far more complicated. Until then, the best move is to watch carefully as each new detail unfolds. Now, I need to hear from you. What do you make of this David story? The discovery of a woman's body inside a Tesla registered to him has the internet in chaos, and everybody's got a take. Do you think this is a tragic coincidence, or could there be a deeper story behind it? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, hit that like button, and of course, subscribe so you don't miss the next deep dive. I'll see you in the next one.